Guys, just want to do a swing trading lesson video for cryptocurrencies and tell you kind of, I've been trading for 10 years and I've seen swing trades like um, Shopify and Square and all these guys run. And don't forget, like, the opportunity doesn't just lie in the cryptocurrency world. There are stocks that are running because of this and that will benefit from this. James Altucher talks a lot about this. Um, it's just called a sympathy play. It's pretty common, but there's some really scandalous companies out there, and they'll call themselves like the Flower Bitcoin Company, and all of a sudden they're up 500%. Well, obviously that may not be what you want to trade, but there's other stocks out there that, this is a computer industry that is going on right now, and what you want to do is you want to think around what we'll be using things related to cryptocurrency. So computing, coding, flash memory cards, all those things. So you also want to look at cybersecurity. I think cyber is actually one of the stocks that I saw. But basically, like, there's all these stocks that are going to be related to cryptocurrency stuff, and they will benefit from this new industry that has spawned in the last few years. So in order to find a really solid swing trade, whether in stocks or cryptocurrencies, I always tell people to take a look at the 1-year chart to start. So if your 1-year chart is in cryptocurrency world has had a huge run up before, that's where we first start. And I'm going to keep this really simple. Once it pulls back, which they all have, then they start to rally back up. That would be my entry point for a swing trade back to these highs in order to take profit off. Now, when they do get back to these highs, one of the general rules is that the distance between this point right here and this point right here is the distance that it will run again. So everybody that I've seen on Twitter that doesn't know what they're doing, they're hollering at people to sell. They get in here and they get out here. Well, sure, a new high is fine and they take profits, but what they don't realize is that this can happen next. And usually it does happen, especially when you've already had this really long consolidation period right here. So obviously anybody that wanted to sell because of their losses from here, here, and here, if they bought here, they're losing here, right? So anybody that wanted to sell got out, and now all you have is people that are profitable. So at this point, this is where the stock is able to take that the coin or the token is able to take that next leg up. So we can take a couple of examples off of TradingView, and we can go over here, and we were just looking at this one just for kicks and giggles, not a recommendation. We were just looking at this one coin, and let me see if we can get this to pull up real quick. So let's just take a look at Litecoin, for example. You've had this massive run up to 350 and 400, and now it's all the way back down to 216. And people look at this and they're like, "Oh my goodness, like, it's too much, like it's gone too far, and maybe it's over." And so I want to show you that this chart pattern right here is this piece right here. So it ran up, and here's your pullback finally. And then it will try to work its way back up slowly and possibly break out. So for me, this is always a great place to get in, because even if it goes down here and then comes back, over time, this is where it will consolidate in order to allow you to have like a really good swing trade. So if you, you bought into this course, and I really appreciate you guys joining. Like, I love that you guys are here. But in order for you to make, I think, the most money in cryptocurrencies or stocks or anything else, if I've spoken to over 1,000 people in the last 3 years on the phone, and I never once really met more than 2 or 3 successful day traders. The guys that were doing well were the ones scooping up on the dips after a rally and letting it run back up over the course of a few weeks. It seems like an eternity, okay? It can seem like an absolute eternity. but you have to remember to stay and you set your stop. Like, okay, if you put in 2 grand or five, let's say you put in $5,000, and you're going to lose no more than $1,000. So if it goes down there, and then a few days later you're now down $1,000 and you're debating getting out, maybe wait another couple days, and if it keeps going lower, get out, because you can always get back in. But if it starts to come back up, just let it work for you, and don't freak out, don't panic, because it's when it's going down that's when you need to be getting interested in it. I'm not saying to catch a falling knife. Like, had you bought it here, you'd be way down, right? So I'm just saying, wait till it comes down, let it settle out, take your time, relax, and then start looking to accumulate it a little bit by a little bit, so that you're not just buying the whole thing at once and making a bad decision. So you can maybe buy like $500 worth at a time, or $200 worth, or $1,000 worth, or whatever your account size is that you're comfortable with. So for me, that's how I like to accumulate swing position, and then I literally just let it work. I give it a 2-week period, let it run back up, let it come back up into these ranges, and then you can take some profits off, so that if it does break out and continue to run, you're going to have a huge swing trade on your hands that did really well. So if we go back here and draw this out, like let's say Litecoin does this and we're right here, and then it comes back up. Well, if I'm accumulating down in these areas and it comes back up, I'm profitable, and it breaks out here, I might take a little bit off the top and then just let the rest run until it starts to come back down again over the course of another week. If it takes a week and it starts to descend, but I got way back here, I'll probably just go ahead and take it off the table, because I'm already way up. So by taking a low, like accumulating in these low end areas and then taking some off as you go up, that's what allows you to be really profitable in any sort of trading. Now, if you're just starting out doing this, it's good to have a group, it's good to have people to work with, it's good to talk to other people about this, so that you can kind of build like a conviction for being in these things or not being in them. So I hope that helps you guys. Like, just remember, like, no matter what coin you're looking at, like let's say we look at Bitcoin, no matter what you look at, just remember, like, to be very aware that these things take time to go back up. Like, this happened on December 9th, and then it took 3 or 4 or 5 days before it rallied back up to these highs. So another week, an hour feels like an eternity in trading. So give it a week, give it 2 weeks, and let these things work, and let them pan out, and let them work for you versus you working for them. So some of the best returns I've ever seen by my friends, family, traders, swing traders, was when they held and not when they day traded, because day trading brings in all these crazy emotions, like, oh, do I get in, do I get out, and versus like, let me just focus. Oh, and here's another thing, focus on one coin at a time. One coin at a time. I know that's anti-intuitive, and people are like, dude, I've got all this money and blah, 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 I can spread it across all these things. And I'm just like, yeah, but what if the whole market goes down? You're going to panic. Okay, so just do one thing at a time and just stay focused. So hopefully that helps you guys. It's a very small swing trading lesson. We're going to be doing a ton more of these kind of lessons that are going to be even more in depth, showing you tons of examples through live coaching calls. We're going to be doing a webinar at some point, so be watching out for that. My name is Ben. I hope you're doing well. I've been trading and teaching for many years, and I stopped teaching and decided to come back, and was like, I've got to share this opportunity with people and kind of show people like the right way. I was seeing a lot of people on Twitter and YouTube, and they were just saying stuff that just didn't make sense. So I wanted to get in there and just reiterate that it's all about really great charts. It's all about underlying solid projects, and it's all about having that knowledge of like when to hold, when to sell, and a lot of it has to do with the chart. And if you don't know anything about charts, then take some time to go through some examples to find charts that have set up like what we just showed you here. So basically a run up, and then the pullback is setting up for another run. So hopefully that helps you guys. Super excited you're here, and thanks again for joining, and I'll talk to you soon, and bye-bye.